Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Vlogging Dead. I'm your host, Emily Peel, and today we will be discussing Season 6, Episode 14 of The Walking Dead, Twice as Far. Let's get to it! So this episode is really just about characters that really have not found who they are and haven't shown dominance yet, really just showing dominance. At the beginning we see Denise going up to Rosita and Daryl, and she's like, hey guys, so I know about this place where there's like a drugstore and they might have a bunch of medicine, and you know, she's all doctory, she knows what she's doing. And Daryl and Rosita are like, no, you don't, like, you can't go get that. And she was like, yeah, that's why I want you guys to like go with me and everything. And they were like, we'll go, you stay here. And she was like, no, I'm going. Like, she was very certain, like, hey, I'm doing this. She wanted to do a part of it. So Denise and Rosita and Daryl all went out, and then we also see Eugene and Abraham, and they're just on a little run. Like, we don't really know where they're going or what they're doing. Eugene is kind of like leading Abraham somewhere, and he's just like, all right, what's going on? Whatever. So we see that Eugene is kind of like, he's starting to become more of a leader, you know, like literally leading Abraham to wherever he's taking him. When we go back to Denise and Rosita and Daryl, they get to like a part where they can either keep going in the woods and like the road kind of ends where they need to go, and so they can either keep going in the woods or they can go on the railroad track. And Rosita's like, all right, let's take the railroad track. It's a direct like line there. And Daryl's like, no, let's take the woods. It's safer there. Like, yeah, you're not in the open or whatever. And so, so they both went their ways. And Denise was like, yeah, she didn't know what to do. So she went with Daryl, which I would go with Daryl. Daryl or Rosita. Yeah, I would definitely go with Daryl. But, so they went that way, and eventually they met up at the actual place. Like, Rosita, she was there, and she was like, what took you guys so long? You know, like, playing it off, whatever. She'd probably been there for like a minute, is what I'm thinking, but whatever. So, they got there, and they're like, it's like a little convenience store, like a little gas station convenience store, whatever. So they're in there, and like, Rosita and Daryl are like, don't worry, Denise, we got this, you just stay back, stay out of the way, whatever. And so they're like, there was a bunch of medicine, they're clearing that out, they're like, we're just gonna take everything. And Denise is just kind of exploring, and she found a little like stand with little keychains with their names on them. She was just kind of looking through that, and she grabbed one, and it said Dennis on it, and we were like, huh, Denise, Dennis, I don't know. And then she went into a back room, and it was like literally, she just needs to stay where she is. She doesn't need to go anywhere. But she goes into this back room, and luckily there weren't any like live walkers or anything like that. But she saw like, it didn't actually show it, but we saw like baby shoes floating in a sink. So it kind of like, it was very, very intense part. And Denise just like freaked out and ran out and had to go sit outside and everything. And so when Daryl and Rosita came back out, then they made sure she was good and everything, and she kind of told them about her brother Dennis, which is what the keychain was from. So she told them about Dennis and how he was like her twin brother, and how he died earlier on. But she really felt a close connection with Daryl because he reminded her of her own brother Dennis. So that was a really nice moment, like where she was just sharing about that. And now we also see Eugene and Abraham. They go into this like warehouse type thing, and there's a bunch of there's a ton of just machines and like all kinds of fancy stuff. Now obviously it hasn't been used in so long, but it's like nice stuff. So they go in there, and Eugene's like, all right, Abraham, here's my plan. I've scoped this whole place out, and I think it would be perfect for making bullets. which that's a really smart idea because like you're gonna be out of bullets eventually. Like they're getting pretty low, and he knows how to make them. I mean, as far as we know, because he knew the cure to the zombie apocalypse, but you know, not really. So, but you know, I think it really shows that he's growing. He not only knows how to make bullets, but he's coming up with ways, and you know, he's not just suggesting, oh, let's make some, but he's actually finding places and showing people like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. And then Abraham and Eugene, they got into a fight over dibs, and a walker came up, and Eugene was like, dibs, I got this one. And then this thing had like a steel head. Like it had been covered in steel. I don't know. It was crazy. He couldn't like stab it or shoot it or anything. So he had to like, I don't know, he had to just shimmy it up or whatever. But it started to like really get on him. So Abraham just went ahead and killed the walker. And Eugene was like, what the heck, man? Like I called dibs. And they got into some big argument. And Eugene just left, and he was like, good luck finding your way back. And like, boys, jeez. So then, anyways, we go back to Denise and Rosita and Daryl, and Daryl was like, they were just about to go into the woods, and he was like, no, Rosita, we're going to take the railroad track. And he was being very nice and respectful. You know, he was like, all right, you're right, you know. Obviously it was faster, so we'll take the railroad tracks. So they're on the railroad track, and Denise just like, she got distracted or whatever, and she goes over and looks in a car and sees like a cooler in the like passenger seat of the car, but then there's like a walker in the driver's seat. So like, not worth it. But she was like, guys, we gotta get this cooler, and they're like, whatever's in there is spoiled, like. It has been like however many years. I don't know. I'd say like 2 years. And if it's a cooler, everything in it, if it's a cooler, it's something that needs to stay cold. So there's a likely chance that it's moldy or has disintegrated, or is like, if it's a drink that it's like terrible, has like combusted. I don't know. But she was like, still like, I need to show this dominance. So she was like, guys, I'm going to get it. And like, they were like, no, come on. And they just kept walking. And so she was like, going to take matters into her own hands. And so she opens up the passenger side door and grabs the cooler. But as she grabs the cooler, the walker grabs her and like falls on her. And she's like fighting back. And then she finally kills it. And then she like throws up, and it was really gross. But anyways. So she opens up the cooler, and it's literally like a 6-pack of sodas. And they were like, really, all that for soda? And she was like, nope, just one. And like, just took like a Fanta, orange, whatever, and just started drinking it and everything. And then they started walking, and they were like, you could have gotten killed, blah, blah, blah. And then she lost it. She started going on this long tangent about how that's what this world is, and that literally you just have to take risks. And like, obviously she knew what she was talking about. Like, you can't just go around and like not do anything, but you also can't just like risk your life for a soda, you know? So she's over here trying to give this motivational speech. They're like back on the railroad tracks, and like, oh gosh, like mid-sentence, there's an arrow. It goes straight through her eye. And then she like continues to say what she was saying before like falling over dead. Like, an arrow, like, how many people are gonna get hit in the eye now? Like, Carl got shot in the eye, she got shot through the eye with an arrow, and like, the thing is, it was an arrow, and we were like, alright, nobody has arrows but Daryl, but that one guy took his crossbow. And so sure enough, Daryl and Rosita like raise their guns and everything, and then like a swarm of people, just like, I'd say like 10 people probably, not a swarm, but like 10 people come out of the woods, and we see Dwight, who is the guy that stole Daryl's crossbow. Now, not only was it Dwight and his men and people and whatever, but right below Dwight, he had Eugene, like, tied up and, like, kneeling next to him. Literally, like, that's the thing. These people, both Eugene and Denise, were trying to show dominance, but you have to know, like, you can't just go out and do everything and then just do whatever you want, you know, like, Eugene was like, I called dibs, so now I'm just gonna leave and go on by myself. And Denise was like, well, I'm good enough to do everything now, so let me just try to risk my life for this, like, cooler. Like, if they hadn't stopped there, she was there for a good, like, 5 minutes, and then her speech went on, like, they would have been fine. But, like, so both of them, they were beginning to be more confident, but then they had their flaws with not knowing when to stop. And so, Dwight's going on about how, like, Daryl says he should have killed Dwight, and he's like, yeah, you probably should have, and he's just going on talking to Daryl, saying how he was aiming for him, whatever. And when we see Eugene, from his perspective, he, like, glances over and there's a bunch of oil barrels, and you see Abraham, like, pop up behind him, or whatever, and then he goes back down. And Dwight's talking about how he's going to kill Eugene and then Rosita, and then, like, he's going to make Daryl watch them die before Dwight kills Daryl. And Eugene is like, well, if you're going to kill any of our men, start with that guy behind the oil barrels or whatever. So Dwight's like, all right, guys, go check that out. And, like, so while people are going to check that out, like, Abraham has already moved, luckily, because I was like, Eugene, you're an idiot. Like, it was just dibs. But he was thinking. And he used that distraction of them, like, going over there to, like, he bit this guy, Dwight, he bit him in, like, the junk, and, like, yeah. So it was a long scene of that, and then everybody's just shooting everybody, you know, everybody's going crazy, and, you know, eventually Dwight lets Eugene go, and then him and his men run off. Daryl gets his crossbow back. He dropped his crossbow, and he was about to run after him when Rosita was like, no, don't, like, we gotta take Eugene back, because Eugene was injured from, like, whatever they did to him. He was tied up and all that. So I believe he got, like, grazed with a bullet. Well, there was, like, a little shootout across the railroad tracks between all the men before Dwight and his men retreated. And so they took Eugene back, and so we had to say goodbye to Denise. It was very obvious that she was dead. But Eugene is good. Abraham, he was fine. He came out and was able to shoot a bunch of people. He got away fine. And yeah, well, let's go ahead and answer our question of the week from our little zombie bowl. Okay. What are they going to do in Alexandria without a doctor? That is a very good question. Yeah, like, they have all this medicine that they just got, so they can at least use that. But, like, you know, Eugene just got shot, so, you know, they can bandage him up. And luckily, it wasn't a bad shot. Like, it wasn't a bad wound or anything. So, I mean, he got shot, so it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Denise, she was a doctor. Like, obviously, there was a lot of stuff she hadn't done, but there was a lot of stuff that she could do that no one else could ever do. So, I don't know. I mean, there's people at the hilltop that they could maybe go to. I'm not sure. Like, that would be my guess. From the way it sounds, and, like, in the next week on and stuff like that, it seems like we're gonna need a doctor pretty soon. Well, that's all for this week's edition of The Vlogging Dead. I'm your host, Emily Peel, and until next week, stay alive and don't get bit.